There was practically no damage caused by the impact with the ground. The plane had already fallen apart.
On October the 2nd, just 3 days after the crash, the plane's flight data recorder is found. Most of the cockpit voice recorder is also recovered, except for one critical part.
In this accident, the impact was so strong that the module separated from the recorder.
Modern voice recorders don't use tape. Conversations are recorded digitally onto a memory module. But that part of the GOL CVR has broken free. Without it, the rest of the cockpit voice recorder is useless. While the search for the module continues, Ferreira looks at the information from the 737's flight data recorder. He learns that the plane was flying at 37,000 feet. It was on course and flying level at its assigned altitude. Then, without warning, the plane pitched over and plummeted toward the ground. Whatever happened, it was sudden and catastrophic. The data recorder tells Ferreira that the plane spun 11 times before it hit the ground.
Manaus, I can't see GOL. There isn't any GOL with us here.
It's on its way.
So it's already in my area?
For over half an hour.
Police investigators want to know what air traffic controllers can tell them about GOL Flight 1907's final minutes.
There was no mayday. In fact, we never had contact with the GOL jet.
Controllers say there was no warning that the jet was in trouble. It simply vanished. Colonel Ferreira studies air traffic control data from the day of the accident. There is no sign of the GOL flight. But the readings from the smaller Legacy jet capture his attention. It seems to be flying erratically. Instead of keeping to a single altitude, the radar shows it flying up and down dangerously. Perhaps the private jet pilots were testing out their new plane by climbing and descending quickly. They may have collided with the GOL jet as a result of their reckless flying. When that information leaks out to the country's newspapers, it makes front-page news.
The population thought it was unjust that a smaller aircraft was able to make an emergency landing while the larger aircraft with 154 people just fell into the Amazon and everyone died.
Neither Lepore nor Palladino are officially charged, but they are confined to a hotel room in Brazil while the investigation continues. Ferreira interviews the two pilots about what they did and what they saw.
Look, we were proceeding northwest on course to Manaus at 37,000 feet. Okay, we were attempting to contact Brazilian control.
Were you changing altitude?
No.
I was on the plane. Had the plane been flying erratically or doing loop-de-loops or whatever it was, I think I would have had a pretty good story for the New York Times.
Did you say you were flying at 37,000 feet?
Yes, that's right. Flight level 370. We never moved from that.
When he reviews the information from the Legacy's flight data recorder, Ferreira confirms the pilot's story. Although the ground radar shows the Legacy flying wildly, the data from the plane shows that it didn't change altitude at all. But there is something shocking about the Legacy's path. The business jet was flying north to Manaus, the GOL flight south from Manaus. Ferreira can see that both planes were flying at the same altitude, 37,000 feet. He makes a horrifying discovery. For some reason, the two planes were on a collision course. Air traffic is typically routed along specific corridors through the sky, essentially highways in the air. But planes traveling in opposite directions are supposed to be separated by at least 1,000 feet.
The airway system, for instance, between Brasilia and Manaus is very simple. It makes airplanes fly northbound, maintaining even levels, and airplanes flying southbound, maintaining odd levels.
But somehow, the Legacy jet and the Gol 737 were traveling down the same aerial highway in opposite directions. For long minutes, they were heading straight for each other. It seems more and more likely that the two planes collided. At the crash site, workers find support for this incredible theory. The left wing of the Gol flight is recovered. Investigators discover that about halfway along the wing, it's sliced clean through. None of the other wreckage is sliced this way. The precise nature of the cut tells Ferreira that this is not damage that was caused by impact with the ground.
The damage on the left wing clearly shows that it was caused by a collision with another plane.
The badly damaged wing would have sent the 737 into a spiral dive. The pilots would have had no way of controlling it. The sudden spiral motion would have pulled the plane apart. It's the reason the wreckage is spread over such a wide area. Ferreira finds the most conclusive evidence of a collision on the Legacy's damaged wing.
On the Legacy, we found very small traces of paint that came from the Gol wing.
Together, the planes had a combined speed of 1,600 kilometers an hour. At that speed, the wingtip of the small jet easily sliced through the 737. Colonel Ferreira now understands what caused the Gol jet to crash, but he doesn't know why. How had the two jets ended up in the exact same airspace without anybody noticing?